So first off, it's important to be proactive in finding research opportunities if you want to publish a paper. You need to reach out to as many people as you can. I have friends in college who emailed like 30 or so professors before they finally got a reply. So just want to say perseverance pays off, because at the end they still got that one yes, and they were able to actually publish. So that's pretty awesome. I also want to say that it's by no means necessary to publish something before you apply to medical school. The medical schools know, how tough it is to get something published, how long it takes. So yeah, that is definitely not a requirement. There are many successful applicants without any publications on their resumes. However, you do have to show that you explored research in some way and have the ability to contribute to scientific advancement. They want to see that you have given research a try, and if it's not really your thing, then that's fine too. You just need to show that you pursued a scientific interest academically somehow. For those who realize that they love research, that's awesome. So keep in mind though that most papers, especially basic science papers, can take years to generate. I worked in the same nutritional science lab during undergrad for like 2.5 years, and I didn't end up with any publications from that lab at all. All I did was just like take care of like 500 mice, and it was honestly not my favorite thing to do. But I also did learn a lot of basic science lab skills that I was able to leverage to get another lab position at a UCSF lab during my junior year, which was actually also my last year at Cal. I was able to publish a clinical research paper with some of the people that I met at the UCSF lab. I also got to shadow neurosurgery since the PI of the lab was a neurosurgeon. And now just going to my current research papers and stuff. Most of my papers and abstracts are from my current job as a clinical research assistant at Kaiser Permanente. These are all clinical research papers and abstracts, and clinical research is a branch of medical science that explores the effectiveness and safety of various treatment regimens, diagnostic techniques, and medications, among other things. Other topics for research might also include fellowship patterns in certain specialties, publication patterns and trends, and even investigating the definition of a certain management strategy for a disease. So for example, I recently submitted a paper, another paper on defining outpatient management of pulmonary embolism. So I'm still waiting to hear back from the reviewers on that. My study team and I discovered that there's quite a bit of variation in the literature on defining outpatient management for pulmonary embolism. And we wanted to demonstrate that this is a problem that needs to be addressed, because without a clear definition for outpatient management, it's pretty difficult to translate findings across clinical studies, since the variation in treatment and management can vary so much between them. So this will also make it difficult to translate clinical findings into actual clinical practice. So we basically just wanted to help research recognize this shortcoming in the current literature with our study. And this type of study actually requires zero funding, so you don't have to worry about getting grants or money. It simply requires a lot of time and some attention to detail. Another not totally clinical research paper that I published was a paper on gender-based publication trends from 2010 to 2019 in the top neurosurgery journals. I worked on this study with a couple of people I met at UCSF during the last couple of months. And this paper had nothing to do with any of the lab work I actually did at UCSF. It was just kind of another project that we thought of, and we just decided to go for it. And this just goes to show how valuable the relationships that you forge with people throughout your experiences can be. So definitely try to keep in touch with some of the people that you meet that you really admire, and you'll have opportunities to kind of collaborate with them later on. And on that note, please feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to talk over some of your research ideas with me. If it seems pretty feasible, I can even try to loop in my physician mentor and hopefully eventually help you write a manuscript or an abstract and maybe even get it published. And my already published papers are based off of studies that the doctors I work with at Kaiser Permanente began before I started the job, and I just helped to write them up. My research at Kaiser is largely focused on clinical decision support for emergency medicine physicians, since they often have to make quick care decisions for emergent, potentially high-risk patients to satisfy the high demands of the emergency department. I'm also currently working on studies on telemedicine and COVID-19, which is pretty cool since these are both super obviously relevant to everything that's going on right now. And I honestly really appreciate the opportunities that are offered to me through my job right now. And I'm trying my best to put my best efforts into the job because I'm working with such inspiring doctors and researchers. And this job has also made me realize that I want to continue doing clinical research even as a physician, since it really does have the opportunity to kind of improve clinical practice and make it much more efficient. However, just realize that research isn't for everyone, as I mentioned before. And as long as you do show that you tried it, such as joining a research lab at some point in undergrad, then I think it should be okay as long as you demonstrate passion in other aspects related to medicine. For example, you devote a lot of time to volunteering at a free clinic, for underserved populations or, something like that. Um, Again, there is absolutely no requirement to have publications to apply to medical school, as I'm sure I've said like 5 million times already. So don't sweat about it. Focus on the basics first. And if you're truly into, the research that you're doing and you keep working hard and keep persevering, I think the publication should follow naturally. They won't be immediate and are never guaranteed, but as long as you persevere, you'll be able to speak and write about your research studies very intelligently, and medical schools will be able to see and recognize that.